What's up, Ragin Nation? How's it going? This is Alex, and you're watching a Ragin Ronin review. I got a review for you. Last weekend, I saw Justice League in IMAX 3D 3 times on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Now, you're probably wondering, why did I watch it 3 times? Well, I really wanted to take it all in. There was a lot going on in this movie, and this is one of the most highly anticipated films of 2017, let alone the most highly anticipated comic book film of 2017. We got a lot of comic book films in 2017. Logan, Wonder Woman, Spider-Man Homecoming, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, Thor Ragnarok, which were all fantastic, and now Justice League. Now, there is a huge build-up to Justice League since Man of Steel, which came out in 2013. That was essentially the beginning of the DC Extended Universe, and we all knew that at some point in time they're gonna bring us to Justice League, where we see everybody all together, and now it is finally here. Now, I'm just gonna be reviewing this film. I'm not even gonna talk about any of the controversy surrounding this movie or anything that happened during the production. It's not about that. I don't really care about any of that. Let's just get right into this review, and let me tell you whether or not this is a good or a bad movie. Well, it's not a bad movie, but it's not a great movie or a good movie. I'm going to say that it's a decent movie. Now, I've seen, obviously, Batman vs. Superman. I've seen Suicide Squad. So the number one thing on my mind is it better than both Batman vs. Superman and Suicide Squad? Yes, it is. I'll definitely say that it is better than Batman vs. Superman, and is definitely better than Suicide Squad, but not by a whole lot. It is still a much better film, and that's good enough for me. Now, there's a lot of things I like about this film. For example, my favorite character is The Flash. I think Ezra Miller really does a great job in making this character funny and interesting and just very, very entertaining. Wonder Woman, great as always. Gal Gadot's performance always is awesome. Ever since she came out for the first time in Batman vs. Superman and then in her solo film, she's fantastic in this film. Ben Affleck as Batman. You know what? I feel that Ben Affleck kind of took a back seat in this one, and I feel that if he's without his gadgets as Batman, he's a pretty weak character, to be completely honest. When he is in his Batmobile, when he is in, piloting that other thing, he's great. He really serves a purpose. But I think for the most part, all Ben Affleck really is a leader that takes a back seat. He's Bruce Wayne, and he brings everybody together, but that's all he does. And unfortunately, that doesn't add a whole lot to the action. For the story as a whole, he definitely has a very integral part, but besides that, his role as Batman doesn't really do a whole lot. Aquaman! I was really, really hoping that Jason Momoa would play, or rather have a bigger role as Aquaman, but honestly speaking, when Aquaman is not in the water, like on the surface, he really just comes down to being a brute force. This big macho guy with a pitchfork. Actually, it's a trident. But besides that, besides just using his brute force, his strength, and his trident swinging at bad guys, he really doesn't do any really aquatic stuff. Like, not a whole lot of Aquaman stuff. But really, that's going to be saved for his solo film, which comes out next year. They're really saving a lot of that stuff for the next film, which is Aquaman. As for his role in in Justice League, it really isn't that important, to be completely honest. His role, or rather his presence in there, really is just to introduce his character, and to top things off, just to introduce the Atlanteans and the world of Atlantis, and the fact that it has a bit of an important role in this movie. But besides that, it's just a vehicle to bring about the next film. Cyborg. Now, Cyborg, he really also is kind of like a weak link as a character, but I really liked Ray Fisher's performance a lot. In fact, I think that his performance is the best in out of all the characters in the Justice League, and it's just because Ray Fisher is a good actor. He's a really, really great actor, and I think that he really puts a really excellent performance, and the strongest performance out of all the characters in Justice League. As for the character of Cyborg that he plays, I wish it was written a little better than what we were given. I wanted to see more of his character, but his role is still very important in Justice League. What else did I like about this movie? This movie moves at a very brisk pace. It clocks in at just under 2 hours long. I think an hour and 58 minutes, and it really moves along really quickly. It's a very well-paced film. I'm engaged. There are not any moments where I felt I was bored. There's a good amount of action, and then drama sequences, dialogue sequences, action, dialogue, action, big action, and then to the climactic finale. So I really like the build up towards that. So that was really great. I liked all the Easter eggs. If you're obviously a DC comic book fan, you will love all the Easter eggs in it, and it's probably enough, or so many Easter eggs in it, that it's enough to really make you love this film despite all its flaws. You really have to be a DC comic book fan to really enjoy this. In fact, you will love this if you're a DC comic book fan. I love the Easter eggs. I mean, sorry, not the Easter eggs, the end credit scenes. I love the 2 end credit scenes. I love them so much. They are just great scenes that really make you go like, yes. What else is there? I love the action is pretty cool. I won't say that it's great. The action is pretty cool. I really particularly like the action involving the Flash. I think a lot of his moments shine because of the nature of his character. He provides a lot of the humor in the movie, and gives us a lot of I guess visual surprises. So I really like that. Which comes down to me talking about some of the more negative points in the movie, and I'll go to talking about the action. The action is pretty chaotic. Typical Zack Snyder craziness. The action is really chaotic, and what I mean by that is if you remember how the fight scenes are in Batman vs Superman, where he's going up against Doomsday, it's a lot of that. A lot of just like a lot of like just like fireworks and pyrotechnic displays and big giant like explosions. And I'm not talking about any like regular kind of explosion. I'm talking about explosions of energy, a lot of that sort of thing, and it's a little bit too much. It's really chaotic. Okay, I feel that this movie almost moves at such a fast pace that it feels rushed. 2 hours running time, 6 different good characters, like protagonist characters, and then not a whole lot of time to really get to know them. In fact, I didn't really feel any real chemistry between any of the characters, which is really unfortunate, because you see all these great characters come together, but you really don't see the same kind of chemistry that you would see in other comic book movies. I'm not going to name any of those, but I'm just saying that I've seen better chemistry in other comic book movies. I think the Lois Lane is a pretty weak character. I also think that if you remove Aquaman from this movie, it's still the same movie. Steppenwolf, the main villain, very weak villain. I don't understand the motive. I mean, sure, take over the world's a motive, but like, come on, give us a little bit more than that. Mainly because we've seen a big bad villain want to take over the world many times in comic book movies, so that was pretty weak. Definitely one of the weakest characters in the DC Extended Universe. What else can I say? I will say that there's a really lack of attention to detail, and maybe it has to do with the fact that this movie is only 2 hours long. There's just all these little things that I felt could have been added in to provide more details, in-depth information and knowledge about the plot and what's really going on. But I think that they really, they kind of dropped the ball on that. They left out a lot of details that would have made the movie work a lot better. And I have to say that some of the action feels a little bit pointless, especially when one particular character is just insanely overpowered. But I will say that when that particular character comes out, it is really fantastic. It is really awesome. But, one of these characters is just too overpowered to the point where you feel like this is a little bit, it kind of undoes all the previous action and all the fighting that happened previously. So yeah, it's very, very very overpowered. There's an imbalance going on. But besides that, this looks like really kind of like what Batman versus Superman Dawn of Justice did for the Justice League, Justice League does for the future of the DC Extended Universe. And really, it doesn't really work as a standalone movie. It works better knowing that this is a prequel to a lot of other movies. So you already know that there's a lot more going on after this movie, and that's what it feels like. It doesn't feel like a complete movie. It feels like there's more to it, but they decided to just give us something and just wrap it in 2 hours, like a 2-hour running time, but then it's really just a teaser for greater things to come, and that's what it really feels like. I'm gonna give this movie a 6.5 out of 10. You know, I think it's a decent movie. I don't think it's anywhere near as bad as the critics say it is. I think it's actually a decent movie. It's definitely better than its predecessors from 2016, and I think it met my expectations. It met exactly my expectations. I went into this movie expecting a Zack Snyder directed comic book movie, and I got exactly that. And I knew to expect that because I've seen Zack Snyder's comic book movies, Man of Steel, Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice, Watchmen, and even you could say that Sucker Punch, while it's not a comic book movie, it's still got that comic book style action. So I've seen all those films, and because of that, I went into this movie expecting a version of that, and I got just that. It didn't exceed my expectations, and it didn't, go below them. It definitely just met me right there, and I came out satisfied. But I didn't come out of the movie telling myself that, oh boy, that was freaking fantastic. I didn't come out of theater feeling like that. I just came out of theater thinking like, okay, all right, I saw it, and it was exactly what I expected. So there you have it. I'm gonna give it a 6.5 out of 10. It's definitely better than what I gave it. Gave a score for Suicide Squad and Batman vs. Superman. This is definitely, I'll put this right in the middle. If I had to rank everything, I would put it like Batman vs. Superman, Suicide Squad, Justice League, Man of Steel, and then Wonder Woman being the top of the DC Extended Universe. Anyways, that's all I gotta say in this review. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys thought of Justice League in the comments section below. I'm really looking forward to Aquaman and the future of the DCEU. As always, if you enjoyed this review, hit that like button, subscribe to YouTube channel, like me on Facebook, The Ragin Nation. Also follow me on Twitter, Ragin Nation. My name is Alex. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace.